Ever notice how chaplains seem to always be there in those big moments?
Right.
Like offering comfort after a tragedy?
Yeah.
Or you see them providing support in hospitals? They're kind of like the calm in the storm.
Yeah, I like that.
You asked us for a deep dive on this career path
Okay.
because it's actually more misunderstood than you might think.
Yeah, it really is.
So we're diving into RoleCatcher's really detailed career guide to uncover what it really takes to be a chaplain.
Sounds good.
So to start us off,
Yeah.
when you think chaplain, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I think for a lot of people, it's like a traditional religious setting,
Uh-huh.
but that's really not the whole picture, is it?
It really isn't.
No.
You find chaplains in hospitals, prisons, universities,
Oh, yeah.
even the military.
It's true.
Talk about diverse workplaces.
Definitely.
Before we go too far, let's clarify what a chaplain is,
Go.
just for those who might not know.
Yeah, good idea.
A chaplain is a trained professional who gives you spiritual and emotional support.
Right.
And here's the thing. They're not just there for people of their own faith.
Exactly.
They're there to support everyone, no matter what you believe or what your background is.
And it takes a certain type of person to do that kind of work.
It really does.
And RoleCatcher actually highlights that.
What do you mean?
Well, they emphasize social perceptiveness as like the most important skill for a chaplain.
Really?
Yeah. They say it ranks as high as 77%.
Wow.
That's even more important than like deep theological knowledge.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I have to admit that surprises me a little bit.
Well, it really just shows how much of the job is about the people.
Right.
It's about connecting with people in those really hard times.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Okay.
Illness, grief, moral dilemmas.
Mm-hmm.
These are all situations where people are just so vulnerable.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher even talks about this chaplain who was able to calm down this super tense situation in a hospital waiting room
Oh, wow.
just by reading the room and being present.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
That's social perceptiveness in action.
100%.
And, you know, it makes you think about the emotional toll this career must take on someone.
Yeah.
We always see the rewarding side, like being there for people.
Right.
But it's got to be challenging, too.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think RoleCatcher talks about that in their pros and cons section.
Okay.
Like, it can be incredibly fulfilling, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But this job is demanding, too.
Yeah. How so?
Well, for one thing, it can be tough to maintain a work-life balance.
Oh, I can imagine.
It really takes a certain level of emotional resilience.
Right. Because you're not just giving people answers.
Exactly.
You're being present with them in those really difficult moments.
Yeah, you have to be fully there.
It's not just about having the right words.
Right.
It's about having the right presence and being able to really listen and empathize.
I think that's a really important point.
Yeah,
You have to be able to do all of that without judgment.
absolutely. So we've talked about how important that social perceptiveness is.
But that actually leads us to some other skills you might not expect.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
You wouldn't think a chaplain needs to be like a psychology expert, right?
Right.
But it's actually super important.
It is.
RoleCatcher even lists it out as a required skill.
Yeah. They say it's critical.
And it makes sense when you think about it.
It does.
Because psychology helps you understand why people behave the way they do.
Exactly.
Like how we react to trauma or loss,
of course.
even joy.
Yeah. All of it.
And chaplains need to be able to navigate all of that.
Yeah. They're dealing with people in those really intense emotional states.
Right.
So understanding psychology can help them support people in a deeper way.
I see what you're saying.
Like imagine a chaplain who knows about cognitive behavioral therapy.
CBT.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so how would that help?
Well, they could use those techniques to help someone reframe negative thought patterns.
Oh, wow. So they're like giving people tools to deal with their problems?
Exactly.
That's really powerful.
It's about empowering people to navigate their own inner world.
I like that.
And it doesn't stop at psychology either.
Oh, really?
Nope. RoleCatcher also talks about sociology and anthropology.
No, why those?
Well, because people don't exist in a vacuum, right?
True.
Our beliefs and our practices and how we see the world,
Uh-huh.
it's all shaped by the cultures and societies we're a part of.
That makes sense.
So sociology and anthropology, they give chaplains this framework for understanding those influences.
So it's not just about the individual, it's about the bigger picture.
Exactly.
And how that shapes the individual's experience.
Right.
Okay, I'm with you.
Like, let's say you have a chaplain working in a hospital,
Okay.
and they have patients from all different backgrounds.
Mm.
Having that cultural understanding is going to help them connect with those patients on a much deeper level.
Right, because they're not just treating everyone the same.
That's
They're
it.
taking the time to understand where each person is coming from.
100%.
It's almost like being a cultural detective.
I like that. Piecing together all these different layers to provide that really holistic support.
And speaking of holistic support,
Yeah.
we can't forget about the therapy and counseling knowledge that RoleCatcher talks about.
Oh, right. I remember that.
They say it's like 76%.
Wow.
That's huge.
It is, and it just shows you how important it is for chaplains to be able to provide guidance and comfort.
Especially in those really difficult situations.
Exactly.
So we've talked about the skills, but what does the path to becoming a chaplain actually look like?
Well, it's pretty structured, actually.
Okay.
You usually start as like an entry-level chaplain, assisting with services, offering basic support, that kind of thing.
Got it.
And as you gain experience, you move up.
Makes sense.
You take on more responsibility, maybe leading services, doing more in-depth counseling.
Okay.
You might even find yourself creating programs for your community.
So you really work your way up, building on those skills.
And here's something interesting.
To get to those top spots,
Right.
like senior chaplain,
Okay.
you often need doctorate in divinity.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty serious.
A doctorate.
It shows you how much knowledge this field requires.
Wow.
It's not just about being a good person.
Right, yeah.
It's about really understanding theology and ethics
Yeah.
and the human condition.
It makes you realize this is a serious career path.
It is.
All those skills we talked about, plus a doctorate.
It takes dedication.
For sure.
And that's not even all of it.
What do you mean?
RoleCatcher mentions all these certifications too,
Oh, yeah. Remember that.
like certified chaplain, board certified chaplain,
Right.
even certified pastoral counselor.
It's a lot.
Shows you how important continued learning is in this field.
It does make you wonder, though.
What's that?
The world seems to be getting more secular.
Yeah.
So why are we seeing this growing need for chaplains?
It's a good question.
We're seeing them everywhere now.
We are.
Hospitals, universities, even companies.
I've seen that.
What do you think it means?
Well, maybe even though traditional religion is changing, people still have that need for something more.
You mean like a spiritual connection?
Exactly.
Even if they don't follow a specific religion?
I think so.
It's like we still want that sense of meaning, you know?
Absolutely.
Purpose, belonging.
We're all looking for something bigger than ourselves.
And maybe chaplains provide that.
It's possible.
It's interesting to think about. Like they're bridging this gap between the secular world and the spiritual world.
I like that.
And in a world that feels so chaotic sometimes,
Yeah.
maybe that's what people are looking for.
That guidance, that support.
Exactly. Well, that's something to think about, isn't it?
It really is.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive, but we'll be back next time with another fascinating career to explore.
Looking forward to it.
Don't forget to check out the show notes for all the resources we mentioned. Until then, keep diving.